Let's now look at quite a different class of risk to what we've seen already, and that's when internal logs are unintentionally exposed publicly. Now, it's very easy to discover that this is an ASP.NET web application, and I know that one of the most common logging frameworks that are used for ASP.NET web applications is ELMAH, and I also know that ELMAH is frequently accessible via this path. And here we have ELMAH. This is the exception logging modules and handlers for ASP.NET. It's a third-party component, but it's enormously popular. It's meant to be secured, so it's only accessible via authorized users, but as you can see here, that is unfortunately not the case. I am not presently logged in. So this has actually been served up to me as an anonymous user. And in fact, you can go to this address right now and see exactly what we're seeing here, assuming that there have actually been some exceptions to log. Now we're seeing the exceptions from earlier on in this module when I showed you improper error handling. And in fact, we've got two exceptions here. Let's go and take a look at what we can see in these. I can drill down into the details, and here we have that internal Stacktrace from before. So this again is what I showed you on improper error handling. ELMAH logs all this because it's enormously useful to system administrators who want to debug exceptions. But of course it's also enormously useful for attackers, because here's all of that Stacktrace information we saw earlier on. It's worse than that though, because as we scroll down, we'll also see all the server variables. And the server variables include the HTTP request, and the HTTP request has got the auth cookie in it. Now, as I show in my ethical hacking session hijacking course, once you have the auth cookie, you have the user's identity. This exception occurred while I was authenticated as troyhunt@hotmail.com. What that now means is that if an attacker comes to this page, copies that auth cookie value and recreates it in their own browser, they will become me. Now attackers know about these common log file patterns. They know that ELMAH is a commonly used ASP.NET framework, and they know about other common frameworks for other common languages. So as an ethical hacker, this is exactly the sort of thing that you want to be looking for, because it provides enormously useful information. Now I also want to give a sense of just how prevalent exposed logs are on live production websites. So I want to run a quick Google Dork, or in other words, a very carefully crafted Google search that's going to expose all sorts of results that you wouldn't expect to normally find on the web. So let me go and drop this search into the address bar. In URL, elmah.axd, because ELMAH does frequently appear with the .axd handler, I'm going to make sure that the file type is actually AXD, so it's not just a presence of elmah.axd in the URL string, it does actually refer to the file type AXD. And then error log 4, because that's the text that appears on the ELMAH error log itself. Let's see how many results we find. 13,700 results of exposed ELMAH logs. That is just amazing. All of these sites are exposing exactly what we just saw. Sensitive internal information that's easily accessible by anyone just by doing a simple Google search. I've obfuscated the URLs here because clearly this is a majorly sensitive piece of information. But equally clearly, it's extremely easy for anyone to go out and find the presence of these log files. So this is definitely the sort of thing that you want to be testing for in your web apps. And obviously make sure that you are looking for the common frameworks in the actual language that the app is built on. So that's exposed exception logs. Enormously easy to discover and an enormously serious risk. Let's go on and look at one more thing in this course, and that's vulnerabilities in web services.